A powerful storm has brought destruction to Norway, causing landslides and leaving an entire town stranded. As meteorologists warned of the strongest rainfall in a quarter of a century, the storm, named Storm Hans, has killed 2 people, ripped off roofs, and caused widespread disruption across northern Europe in a summer that started with wildfires across much of the region. The Norwegian Meteorological Institute issued a red danger warning, the highest level of risk, on 8th of August for extremely heavy rainfall across parts of southern Norway. In many places, the event will be among the strongest in the last 25 years.
Så sørger vi for å øke beredskapen på organisasjonen vår. Det er viktig å passe på at vannveggen åpner, slik at vannet renner der det skal. Da vil vi unngå store skader på veien.
On the east coast, north of Oslo, in parts of western Norway, and the southern part of Trondelag, as much of 80 to 100 millimeters of rain in 24 hours was forecast. A critical railway bridge in Norway collapsed into a river after a storm caused widespread damage to infrastructure. The middle part of the Randklev Bridge in Ringebu, which is crossed by the Dovre line connecting Oslo and Trondheim, slid into the Lågen River on 7th August morning. The state-owned rail infrastructure company, Bane Nor, said it was investigating the extent of the damage to the 172.5-meter-long steel bridge built in 1957. The railway company said it does not know when the bridge, which was closed at the time for safety reasons, will reopen, and that damage has also occurred to other parts of that line. While rail bosses said it was impossible to say exactly what had caused the damage, it happened in an extreme flood situation. Most counties in southern Norway will be affected to a greater or lesser extent, the institute said. The danger warning was in place from 7th August morning until 8th August evening. Strong winds and rain continued across the region, also causing disruption, cancelling ferries, delaying flights, uprooting trees, flooding streets, and also causing outages across Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, and Sweden. In Oslo, people were urged to work from home and to avoid unnecessary journeys. In Valdres, some residents had begun to be airlifted by helicopter after there were several landslides.
Oi, det tar ting til her I dag. Åh, kjeng à. Wow, det her det
In the village of Bayern, Norwegian broadcaster NRK reported that a house and garage had been destroyed after a landslide hit a housing estate, and authorities warned that there could still be further incidents. And in Asik, about 1,000 residents were completely cut off from the outside world by flooding. The only route remaining was reportedly a forest path along which food supplies will have to be delivered. The Norwegian Prime Minister, Jonas Gahr Støre, said on 7th of August night that it was a very serious situation. He added, "We see floods and destruction. There is reason to expect that this will last another day." Text messages were sent out to tourists on holiday in the country warning them about the weather. The Norwegian Water Resources and Energy Directorates warned of extremely heavy rainfall in south of the country. Unnecessary traffic should be avoided, it added. A man in Latvia were killed by falling trees. In central Sweden, a train was partly derailed owing to a washed-away embankment, injuring 3. Elsewhere in Sweden, there were reports of chaotic scenes around Åre, a ski resort, where much of the town was flooded after a river burst its banks. The Swedish Meteorological and Hydrological Institute issued a red warning for Halland and parts of Småland for 8th August and 9th of August. The institute said Hans had also brought in warm air across the north, leading to tropical nights in multiple locations in Norrland. On 8th of August, Haparanda recorded a temperature of 30.2 degrees Celsius, its highest August temperature since 1969. Meanwhile, in Estonia, nearly 10,000 people were left without power. The storm has led to around 160 emergency call-outs.
Raste som sagt et par dager siden ned skråninger. Hørte på natta, sørte og trær og alt mulig rart falle sammen. Så det ubehagelig. Fikk ikke sove en dag, for å si det sånn.
The rescue board, Pastiemet, says, with fallen trees and damaged buildings and windows among the incidents. No serious injuries relating to the weather conditions have been reported thus far. Meanwhile, as of 9 p.m. 7th of August, close to 9,000 households and other electricity customers were without power, primarily in Harju, Rapla and Pärnu counties, though by 11 p.m. that night the number had fallen to 4,000. Electricity Infrastructure Service, Elektrilevi, says it will continue to eliminate outages from early morning 8th of August. Elektrilevi brigades are working on troubleshooting in 2 shifts nationwide. The adverse weather conditions can increase the time it takes to resolve faults, while Elektrilevi, the environmental agency's Keskkonnaagentuur Weather Service, on 7th August morning forecasts strong storms in western and southern Estonia, issuing a level 3 highest warning. While 7th August morning was near-perfect sailing weather, with high temperatures and strong winds. As the day progressed, things became more or less the opposite of that. As of lunchtime, the storm front formed the eastern edge of an area of low pressure, which brought warm air from the south, had hit Saaremaa, with hailstones up to 7 centimeters in diameter hitting parts of the island, and wind speeds of up to 29 meters per second, force 11 on the Beaufort scale. Elsewhere, the island of Ruunu, which lies in the Gulf of Riga, lost its connection to the mainland on 7th of August as the Runo ferry, which provides the service, was unable to sail due to conditions. In Tallinn and Tartu, parking services provided by Europark permitted many of its larger multi-floor covered parking lots to be open to all, free of charge overnight. This freed up thousands of spaces in central Tallinn alone, though uptake was high, since most large car parks are automated and unstaffed. The Police and Border Guard Board, PPA, were reportedly drafted in to regulate parking. That the covered parking lots were open at all was mainly so that car owners could avoid storm potential damage to their cars. The authorities issued advice ahead of the storm's arrival, including securing or storing loose items in yards and other outdoor areas, fully charging phones, stocking up on food and water, disconnecting household appliances from the mains, and ensuring vehicles have a full gas tank. Later on 8th of August, the storm was expected to gather in central parts of the country as well as in the North Karelia and Kainu regions. Balmy weather preceded the storm, with a year's heat record broken on 7th of August afternoon in Rauma, north of Turku, where the mercury climbed to 33.6 degrees Celsius. Both flooding and landslides have damaged important infrastructure. The main E6 highway between Oslo and Trondheim is closed, while the rail link is also closed. In Hemsedal, onlookers captured on film the moment a temporary building washed into the river struck a bridge. Thousands of people have already been evacuated, with more still at risk. Insurance company Gjensidige said on 8th of August that damage will total at least 200 million Norwegian krones. But that number is set to rise substantially given what has happened since. Norwegian authorities issued a severe weather warning for much of eastern Norway, even though the rain has now stopped. That warning was extended as floods and landslides began to strike throughout the vast region. The official flood warning remains at the red level until 12th of August, although the risk of more landslides has now dropped. Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store has said the next few days are critical as river levels are closely monitored and travel infrastructure including rail lines and bridges continue to fail. Many roads and rail lines are closed due to bridge collapses or flooding. Airlines, Norwegian and SAS have put on extra departures between Oslo and Bergen and Oslo and Trondheim. Almost 2,000 locals have been evacuated from Hønefoss due to the rapid water level rise of the town's main river, Storelva. Leaders in the small town, which is less than a 1-hour drive from Oslo, have described the incident as a 50-year flood. The municipality crisis team ordered residents in danger areas near the river to leave as soon as possible. The police have said that people must be evacuated. It is not voluntary, said Municipal Director Tor Isaksen to NRK. Shortly after the order, water began to flood the area. Water levels may still rise, and NVE has warned the risk of landslides is now increasing. Such is the water level running through the power station at the Hellefoss water level in Over, Eiker, upstream of Drammen, that authorities are going house to house to evacuate 80 households in Hokksund. A representative from the Norwegian Water Resources and Energy Directorate, NVE, said the situation in the Drammen area is critical. All trains on the Oslo to Bergen line, Oslo to Trondheim line, the Røros line, and the Rauma railway have been at a standstill for several days. Some local commuter trains in and around the Oslo region were also impacted, including the Gjøvik line and trains to and from the main Oslo airport. Bane Nor maintains the current status of the rail lines. The advice for drivers traveling in the affected areas is simple. Leave your car at home if at all possible. All main roads between Oslo and Trondheim are closed, while many roads in rural areas are closed. Airlines Norwegian and SAS have put on extra departures between the capital and Bergen and Trondheim in order to help people move around the country. Norwegian reported the additional departures sold out quickly and have promised additional flights over the coming days. Although flights have been largely unaffected, passengers have faced a major challenge getting to the airport on time due to the railway closure. Extra bus transport was laid on from Oslo S, but passengers have reported chaotic queues.